In this video, we're gonna give you the exact blueprint on how you can pass the FTMO challenge, the Funded Trader Program challenge, True Forex Fund challenge, or any other firm challenge that you want to do. We're gonna deep dive into everything that you need to know before starting doing the challenges and how you can have a very better probability of passing the challenges and getting the funded account. But just before we do that, if you are new to the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And do not forget to join our free Telegram community group from the link in description where you can ask any questions that you have regarding prop firm. Let's deep dive into today's video. So before we give you the exact strategy that is gonna help you pass the challenge, not the trading strategy, but the strategy that I have personally used to pass the Funded Trader Program challenge, Bespoke Funding Program challenge, Funded Engineer Program challenge. Just before we give you that, the very first thing we want you to do is develop a trading strategy. Most of the traders out there who are doing the challenges, they are not able to pass because they do not have any system that works 60, 70, 80% of the time. They don't know when they need to take the trade. They don't know from where they need to exit from the trade. You have to develop a playbook. Having a trading strategy is the most important thing, because if you don't know how you're gonna take the trade, then do you think there is any chance that you're gonna pass the evaluation even with the blueprint that we're gonna give you? Absolutely not. So you have to make sure that you're gonna spend a lot of time in developing a trading system, back test that system enough, find the do's and don'ts of the system, and make sure it works at least 60-70% of the time. And every single time when you will be taking the trade, the return on the trade is going to be the double the amount that you're gonna be risking. So risk to reward ratio should be minimum 1:2. Now the reason why you need a system and also a good risk to reward ratio is that you have to have that higher probability of your trades always hitting take profit, and not only that, but always giving you better results, 2x the results, the amount that you're gonna be risking. Because in trading, if you do not understand the importance of risk to reward ratio, then there are less chances of you becoming a profitable trader. And especially when it comes to the prop firm industry, you have to have that edge in the market, and by using that edge, you can pass the challenge with the blueprint that we're gonna give you. The second thing is you have to decide whether you're gonna take the aggressive approach or you're gonna take the slow approach. When we say aggressive approach or slow approach, we mean by that is, can you take that chance of losing your hard-earned money that you're gonna be spending on taking the challenges, or there is no possibility for you, or maybe you only want to spend some money in taking the challenge and make sure that you pass that every single time. We have the blueprint for both of these scenarios. If you are someone who's gonna spend couple of thousands of dollars in taking the challenges, and you think that if you are spending $1,000 and you're making $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in the payout, that's the amount of return that you're expecting. On the other hand, there is a type of trader who's gonna only spend $1,000 in the challenges. He knows how to trade, he knows how to manage risk. He's gonna spend that $1,000 and he's gonna target at least 4 or 5 payouts from the prop firm. That means the return on investment is going to be 20x or maybe 30x the amount that he's gonna be risking. So let's say you are a type of trader who is aggressive, who's gonna adopt the aggressive approach. So now you know FTMO has 10% profit target in phase 1 and it has 5% profit target in phase 2. We're gonna call phase 1 P1 and we're gonna call phase 2 P2. It has 10% and phase 2 has 5%. And in both the phases, you're getting daily drawdown and overall drawdown. Daily drawdown is going to be 5% and overall drawdown is going to be 10%. Now, if you're doing the phase 1 challenge, your target is 10% and your overall drawdown is also 10%. So that means your overall risk is basically equivalent to your profit target. But when you are on phase 2, you're getting 10% drawdown, but your target is only 5%. So now your target is half the amount of money that you're allowed to lose. So phase 2 has a bit of an easy target, but phase 1 is something where we really need to work. So by adopting the aggressive approach, considering that you have a good trading system, you have back tested that trading system enough and you know every in and out of that trading strategy, you're gonna take your first trade, and in your first trade, you're gonna risk 1%. Now we discussed that you must have a trading strategy that should give you 1:2 rewards from every single trade that you're gonna be taking. But as you have adopted the aggressive approach, so your risk to reward ratio should be minimum 1:3. So we're going to type that here as well. Your risk to reward ratio is going to be minimum 1:3, and you're going to be risking 1% on your first trade. If your first trade goes in profit, that means from your first trade you have made 3% profits. That's the return on your investment from the very first trade that you're going to take on your FTMO challenge. Let's say that you have achieved 3%. So how you're going to do now, the remaining profit target is now 10 minus 3%, which is 7%. So to make 7%, we do not recommend that you risk again 1% on the second trade, because your profit target is 7%, which is remaining. You have made 3% from your first trade. So what you're going to do in your second trade, you're going to be risking 2.5%. The reason why you need to risk 2.5% in your second trade is because your remaining target is 7%. So if this trade also goes in profit, it's going to be 7.5% profit. So let's just say your second trade also hits take profit. So you only took 2 consecutive profitable trades to hit this 10% profit target objective. That's aggressive way of taking the challenge. And that's the way I have taken the challenges most of the time. Because if I am risking 1% in the first trade and my target is only 10% and I am hitting 3% profit return from my first trade, I am just using the profits that I have made from the first trade as a risk on the second trade. So even if the second trade goes against me, I am still at break even because I only lost this amount that I made from the very first trade. You have to do this continuously unless or until you hit the 10% profit target objective. Now there may be a scenario where your first 2-3 trades are going to be losses. That can happen, and that happens to all of us because not every trade works. So in that scenario, you have to stick to 1% risk maximum per trade unless or until you are up at least 2.5 or 3% on your account. So if your balance is down minus 2%, continue risking only 1%. Yeah, you have to risk 1% until or unless you're back up by 3% profits on the account that you're going to be taking on the phase 1 of the challenge. Now with the aggressive approach, the way that you're going to pass the phase 2 of the evaluation is that on your very first trade in the phase 2, you have to risk only 1%, and again you're going to be targeting 3% profit. So let's say that you have made 3% again from your first trade. Now in the second trade, there is no need for you to risk 2.5%, 3% or even 2%. What you're going to do, you're going to be risking only 1% again in the phase 2 of the evaluation because your remaining profit target is now 2%. So again, you need consecutive 2 wins in both the phases for you to pass phase 1 of the evaluation and for you to pass phase 2 of the evaluation. This is called asymmetric compounding. This method is known as asymmetric compounding, and that's the perfect method to hit the 10% profit. Now, one very important thing here is there is no time limit restriction. So we recommend only take the trade that is going to be your A plus trade, which means the setup that works majority of the time for you. As there is no time restriction at all, so you should not be forcing yourself to take the trades every single day. Wait until the right opportunity comes and then and only then execute the trade. The normal approach to pass the FTMO challenge is that when you will be taking the challenge and you know that you are only spending the money that you have saved up and you cannot risk losing that amount, and you really want to take the challenge and pass it and get the funded account so you can start making decent amount of money. Now what you're gonna do, profit target is same, 10% in phase 1 and 5% in phase 2. Now every single time you're only gonna be risking 0.5% to 1% on every single trade. So your maximum risk is going to be 1% and your lowest risk is going to be 0.5%. We personally recommend that only risk 0.5% on every single trade, no matter if that trade is giving you all the indications in the world that it's going to perform in your favor. Just stick to 0.5% risk per trade because by taking the normal approach, you just need 20 rewards in unlimited time to pass phase 1, and you need 10 rewards in unlimited time to pass phase 2. Now this is only when you are spending the money on taking the challenge that you are barely able to afford. So you are not gonna be risking that by just aggressively taking the trades. That's why it's important that you develop enough patience. You have that self-discipline because you have to always wait for the right opportunity. Now with this approach, you can take the trades with 1:2 rewards, with 1:3 rewards, but not less than 1:2 rewards. The reason is that if you are risking 0.5% and you have an average of 1:2 rewards from every single trade that you're making, when you will lose, you're only going to be losing 0.5%. But when you will make, you will be making 1% at least from every trade that's going to hit your take profit, or that's going to go in your favor. So that way you have to total make 20 rewards to pass phase 1 and 10 rewards to pass phase 2. Now this is a simple method that you can use by only sticking to 0.5% risk per trade. With the asymmetry compounding, you can risk 1% in the first trade and you can use the profits that you're gonna make from the first trade as a risk on the second trade to complete the profit target objective within just 2 profitable trades. So that's the best way according to us here at ProFirm Insight that you can adopt to complete the FTMO challenge or any other ProFirm challenge. Let us know in the comment section what do you think about this asymmetry compounding approach, and if you still are not in our free Telegram community, make sure that you join that from the link in description. So this is it from this video guys. Thank you so much for watching until the end. We will see you guys in the next video.